This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, fuel prices are going through the roof for first responders, and it is difficult to budget for costs that are continuing to go up. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to people dealing with the high cost of responding to emergencies.
The Lincoln County Sheriff says their fuel budget keeps going up. Last year, they budgeted for about $60,000. This year, they have budgeted for $85,000, and by the end of April, they had already exceeded about half that amount. The Sheriff Kurt Folger says they spent $40,000 by the end of April. He says most calls you have to respond to with the deputy, but he says they are trying to take care of some with just a phone call. Fire departments are also hurting. Lincoln County has 7 district departments. Last year, they responded to between 700 and 800 calls. You can imagine what they're spending on fuel. They try to keep the trucks 3/4 full at all times, and each fill-up sometimes will cost hundreds of dollars.
You know, before, if they needed fuel, we would take them out. Now, we wait till we're coming back from a run or coming back from a training before we, you know, go out and fill it up. We don't just take the trucks out to fill them up like we used to.
Sheriff Folger tells me that if fuel costs continue to go up, they may have to sit in some areas instead of patrolling areas. The fire chief also says they have other areas that they are looking at to possibly save money. In Lincoln County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Officials we spoke to say they will never let the cost of gas stop them from responding to an emergency. The Biden administration is considering an emergency declaration to help ease the diesel shortage in the U.S. A declaration would allow the president to release fuel from a stockpile called the Northeast Home Heating Oil Reserve. Diesel fuel has only been pulled from there once before. Some analysts say the impact of the release would be relatively minimal and only help for a short period of time. AAA reports the national average cost for a gallon of diesel was $5.55 today. That's nearly a 75% jump from 1 year ago. Local, state, and national representatives gathered in Clay County today to unveil the One Clay County initiative. This initiative features upcoming projects that focus on the revitalization of downtown Manchester and surrounding areas, aiming to bring more jobs to Clay County and more opportunities that will make people stay in Clay.
It's taken us some time to get here because there's certain basic infrastructures you need, but once you get those infrastructures in place, then you have to do the things that really keep or attract or stabilize jobs, and this is that last kind of key component to move us to that point.
Governor Beshear and Senate President Robert Stivers detailed more than $4 million in funding that will target housing, new businesses, redeveloping Bridge Street, and expanding Volunteers of America investments. One day came last night for Lawrence County talent Noah Thompson as the 20-year-old singing contestant became this year's American Idol. After being convinced to join the show by his friend Arthur Johnson, it was not long before the former carpenter built a following in Louisa, across the mountains, and beyond. As he hits the big time, preparing to work on his debut album, his hometown is full of people who say they never doubted his star power and they are proud to be part of his journey, some even watching it happen live.
You know, a group of about 15 of us made the trip, and we were able to watch him win in person, and we all just cried tears of joy because we know this is truly his God-given destiny.
Those we have heard from in the community say this is just the beginning for their idol, and they cannot wait to see where this path takes him.
Well, not the best way to start out a work week weather-wise. We've got plenty of rain still working through at least parts of the region as we run through this afternoon, and as afternoon turns to evening, hopefully we'll start to move some of this rain on out of the region. High knob camera at UVA-wise, if you look closely, you can see those raindrops as the camera updates every 15 seconds. You can actually see the raindrops there on the campus. It is a soggy scene in Southwest Virginia. Same thing in Southeast Kentucky. A live look into downtown Whitesburg. It's all cloudy and showery there. We even got a little bit of fog. You notice that visibility sitting at 2.5 miles. We're in the mid-60s outside at the moment. You see where the showers have been. We're actually a little warmer. We're in the mid-60s Harlan, upper 60s Jonesville and Middlesboro. But where we just had the clouds, we're having trouble getting out of the 50s. Places like Monticello, Somerset, Irvin, and Moorhead, even in places like Jackson. Hazard right now sitting at 61. Pinpoint Doppler, you see the heaviest of the rain moving through the Big Sandy right now into southwest Virginia. So it is a rather soggy scene out there this afternoon. Low pressure off to our south and west, sparking off severe weather as you head over toward the Carolinas. For us, no severe weather, but we're still going to see those showers with us through the evening. Winds will calm down. We'll be down into the upper 50s for lows tonight. I'll have the very latest, though, on when we get a break and then when more showers and storms move in, coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. The monkeypox virus is causing concern among global health experts. The illness is rarely seen outside Africa, but the World Health Organization is reporting more than 90 cases in 12 countries, including the U.S. CBS's Elise Preston has the latest from New York.
Public health officials are watching closely for the potential spread of monkeypox in the U.S. So far, the CDC has confirmed one case in Boston. There are suspected cases in Broward County, Florida, and New York City.
This should be taken seriously.
But Dr. John LaPook says there are huge differences between monkeypox and COVID-19 that has killed millions worldwide.
We've known about monkeypox for more than 60 years. There are vaccines, there are therapeutics. We have a lot of experience dealing with it.
Monkeypox is a virus found in wild animals like rodents and monkeys. When it infects people, symptoms include fever, headache, aches and pains, fatigue, and swollen lymph nodes. Within several days, a rash develops that progresses to raised blisters that turn into scabs. The illness usually lasts 2 to 4 weeks.
The patient in New York City is being isolated and treated as positive while waiting for final confirmation from the CDC.
During a 2003 outbreak of monkeypox in the U.S., 47 people became ill, but nobody died.
We've had this monkeypox in the larger numbers in the past.
While traveling in Asia, President Biden said the U.S. has the necessary tools to fight the virus.
I just don't think it rises to the level of the kind of concern that existed with COVID-19.
Health experts say the virus can be transmitted through body fluids, skin, and respiratory droplets, but it usually requires close personal contact to spread. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Possible treatments for monkeypox include a variation of the smallpox vaccine, antiviral drugs, and antibodies. Portuguese health authorities have reported an additional 14 cases of monkeypox in that country, raising the total number to 37. The Portuguese health authority said, quote, "The identified cases are under clinical surveillance and they remain stable and in outpatient care. The epidemiological investigation of suspected cases that are being detected is ongoing with the aim of identifying transmission chains and potential new cases and their respective contacts," end quote. President Biden warns that China is, quote, "flirting with danger right now by flexing its military might at Taiwan." During a stop in Tokyo today, the president said the U.S. would respond militarily if Beijing tries to overtake Taiwan by force. President Biden's statement caught several top administration officials off guard who are now downplaying the president's remarks.
Well, I do think that's a premature comment off the cuff, and everybody listens to the commander-in-chief. However, I think deterrence is important here.
The White House says there's been no change in official U.S. policy, reiterating the United States' commitment under the Taiwan Relations Act to provide Taiwan with the military means to defend itself. A Ukrainian court sentenced a Russian soldier to life in prison today for killing an unarmed civilian in the first war crimes trial arising from Russia's February 24th invasion. Vadim Shishmarin, a 21-year-old tank commander, had pleaded guilty to killing 62-year-old Alexander Shelipov in a northeastern Ukrainian village on February 28th after being ordered to shoot him. The judge said Shishmarin carried out a criminal order by a soldier of higher rank. Workers removed the trademark Golden Arches sign from a McDonald's restaurant just north of Moscow today. McDonald's is selling its restaurants in Russia to one of its local licensees, who will rebrand them under a new name that is yet to be announced. ending more than 3 decades in the country. The yellow arches stood on the ground outside the restaurant in Khimki, a town near Moscow. It was not clear if work to remove the logo from other branches across the country was already underway. Starbucks is also getting out of Russia. The coffee giant released a statement today saying it will no longer have a brand presence in Russia. It's been operating locations in the country for 15 years and had 130 licensed cafes. Officials say they will support the roughly 2,000 Starbucks workers in Russia by providing pay for 6 months, as well as helping with a transition to other jobs. It is the end of an era. New York City is saying goodbye to its last payphone today. The booth on 50th Street and 7th Avenue will be disconnected for good. Payphone use went down dramatically once smartphones were invented. Some payphones have been replaced by Link NYC internet kiosks, which provide free Wi-Fi and phone calls. Head over to Wall Street now on this Monday. The Dow closes up today more than 618 points, so a good start to the week on Wall Street. We'll have more financial news in our next half hour, but straight ahead here on First at 4, who is the real Josh? Numerous Joshes come together in Nebraska to battle it out with pool noodles to see who will claim the title.
And we're not joshing you with that story. Neither are we with the weather. It's a wet start to the day Monday, but we do have a bit of sunshine set to return to the forecast. The very latest coming up next.
Get in the circle.